An already special year in South African Test history could just turn into the spectacular in a few days' time. The world champions stand on the cusp of what would be their first Test series win in India since 2000 and only their second overall. Can they achieve it in Guwahati? Let's look ahead to the game with Vernon Philander. Vernon, thank you so much for your company. Hope the hangover's done from what was quite a special win in Kolkata for South Africa. Now that World Test Championship crown is, of course, the stuff of folklore. But what would a series win in India, which has for so long been considered the toughest challenge in the sport, mean to the group?
Yeah, thanks again for having me. Yes, I think you make mention of the fact that India is a tough place to tour. I've been there on two tours, being unsuccessful, so I know how tough it is. Obviously playing in India, but yeah, just given the nature of this team and how they've gone and formulated their own sort of blueprint over the last sort of 24 months speaks volumes. I think they've been in tough conditions, and I keep highlighting how they've been so successful over the last 24 months. But to come to India and have conditions stacked up against you, I think that has been a massive question mark. For South Africa, when we talk about technique, when we talk about the mental ability to overcome those tough conditions. But I think this time round, it took a pure team effort. I think also after that first innings, South Africa perhaps a little bit behind the eight ball again and being challenged. And they really stood up in the form of their leader, Temba Bavuma, formulating, some valuable runs towards the back end. But I think there's been massive speculation. There's been a lot of talk around, how they've qualified for that World Test Championship. But you can take absolutely nothing away from this bunch of players. I think, to go to India and win a Test match in India, I think they've probably answered all their critics, by winning that first Test match. And I can tell you this much, heading into the Test match, the second Test match, they would feel that they can really, go and overcome, all obstacles by, obviously achieving a series win against India.
It could be something truly special for the South African group. Let's focus on the game at hand. What we know in the days between Kolkata and Guwahati, Kagiso Rabada remains a doubt. Lungi and Gidi has been added to the squad. We can't be sure of conditions because this is Guwahati hosting a test match for the first time. But let's lay down what we do know. It will be an earlier than usual start. The light will start fading earlier than usual as well. It is a red soil wicket. And at least 48 hours prior to the game, there was some grass covering. So given all that intel, what is the South African 11, the ideal South African 11 for you?
Yeah, I can't see that 11 changing too much, to be quite honest with you. Bar the fact, I think if we have a fit Rabada, he'll slot straight in. I think he'll probably slot in the place of Corbin Boss. I think you still want to have that left arm seam option available in Marco Jansen. But yeah, I think that perhaps being the only change that I foresee from a South African perspective. Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult, to judge, players, when they had a surface like that. So yeah, I mean, there'll be a lot of question marks in the batting department. But yeah, given the nature of the surface, I don't think you can read too much into it. Just on my personal experience, playing on red soil wickets, they do tend to bounce a little bit more. They do tend to have a bit of a steeper bounce, especially with the spinners as well. So I think those players around the bat will be a lot more vocal. I think we always talk about the theatre when you play in India. So I think we can expect a lot more of that, a lot of noise around the bat. But yeah, I just think South Africa's got so much confidence heading into the second test match. I think having played Pakistan in Pakistan and overcome that hurdle, first of all, and now narrowly, obviously beating India in India. So these are all boxes that have ticked along the way. And I think from a player's perspective, you grow in confidence, quietly. You might not say it out loud. And I don't think South Africa has been the arrogant bunch to go out and voice their confidence. But I think quietly, deep down, they would feel that they've got a massive, massive opportunity of beating India. And of course, India missing their leader in Shubman Gill. So therein lies another challenge, for India. So, how do you obviously go forward? I think from a leadership group, the captain, the coach, they would have had set plans as to how they want to play the game. All of a sudden, you've got a new captain that will have to step in. And obviously, he's got a completely different way that he wants to play the game. So to make that sort of subtle adjustments, within a week, I think it's a tough ask for India.
Yeah, it's almost like India go into this as the underdogs, given how things have been.
Unheard of.
All right, from a South African batting group perspective, and you quite rightly point out, there's only so much you can judge a batting group when they play on the kind of surface we saw at Eden Gardens. But what are the lessons that the batting group would have taken, knowing full well that you can again expect conditions which won't be very easy to bat in?
Just given the nature of those surfaces, I think a lot of these players are growing up on surfaces that are so through, as from a technical point of view, yeah, you don't need much technique. I think you can almost trust your hands, whereas you are actually being exposed when you tour the subcontinent, where the ball do turn a bit, reverse swing come into action. But I think if there's something they can learn from, I think they could perhaps look at, how Temba Bavuma has gone about constructing his innings, number one. But I think just defensively, how solid he has been. I think if you look at, obviously against the spinners, you get a massive stride forward. So it takes a lot of those modes of dismissals out of play. It also puts a lot of doubt in the umpire's mind, when you have that bigger stride. I think for the vast majority of the dismissals, in the top order for South Africa, it was players playing, on the back foot. And I mean, if the ball stays low, it hits you on the pad, you're always going to be in trouble. I think also another fantastic, exponent of playing spin and playing the Indian conditions would have been KL Rahul. How sound he has been technically. So I think therein lies a lot of a lot of clues as to how to go about scoring runs in Indian conditions. But I mean, my overall view on how guys are betting these days are, they're almost putting technique out of the equation. They look to be a little bit more assertive. They look to be a little bit more positive. But I think, given the nature of those surfaces, you're going to have to tighten up a bit. And I think those two are fantastic examples to go by.
All right, final thoughts from you, and you can make this a rapid fire if you wish to. You spoke earlier about the boxes South Africa ticked in Kolkata. What are the boxes South Africa have to tick in Guwahati to complete what would be a storied series win?
For me, it's about that bounce back ability, and I think they've done fantastically well. Every time they've been challenged, and I think I've said it over the last sort of 24 months. It's no individual player in particular. I think it's been a team effort. Every now and again, a different batter, obviously, rise to the occasion and get the runs for the team. So it has been a team effort. It has been a collective effort over the last 24 months, and I don't think that's going to change. I think again, it might be an opportunity for a complete unknown player, to raise his hand and say, I'm going to score a crucial 50, 60. To really break the backbone of India. So again, it's a wonderful opportunity, and that's the way I always look at these kind of games. It's an opportunity for someone to put up their hand and really be a match winner.
All right, Vernon Philander, thank you so much for setting up the game for us. Guwahati is a happy venue for South African cricket if you look at the recent past. Been less than a month since the women beat England there to make it through to an ODI World Cup final for the first time. The men now are on the cusp of history themselves.